Creating a basic workflow will add a review step to a form submitted from the Mobile Forms app, allowing it to be edited and then approved, rejected, or reassigned by a workflow user in the Field2Base portal. Users with the role of Workflow Administrator or Mobile Forms Administrator have the ability to create basic workflow definitions for forms by setting up triggers, groups, and email notifications. To create a basic workflow in the portal, click the Create Basic Workflow button on the Workflow Definitions page. First, enter the title for your workflow in Basic Workflow Name. It is a good idea to name the workflow after the form that will trigger it. If you are applying a basic workflow to all of the forms in a folder, then name the workflow after that folder. The precedence of a workflow takes effect when there is more than one workflow enabled for the same form. In most cases, you do not need to edit the precedence of a workflow. An exception is if you have a workflow enabled for a folder but want to apply a different workflow to a single form within that folder. You could assign a higher precedence to the form's workflow than to the folder's workflow. A smaller number means higher priority. You cannot have the same number precedence for more than one workflow, and you cannot run more than one workflow on a specific form. Check the Workflow Enabled checkbox to enable the workflow. You will be allowed to create a disabled workflow if you don't check this box, and can change the status to enabled if you wish to apply the workflow at a later time. If you want to apply the workflow immediately, make sure this box is checked. In the Form and Folder Trigger drop-down lists, select the folder and/or form that you want to apply this basic workflow to. If you apply a workflow to a folder without specifying a specific form, it will be applied to all of the forms in that folder. If you don't specify a form or a folder at all, the workflow will be applied to all forms in your company. If you are applying the workflow to a single form, it may be a good idea to leave the folder selection blank. This way, if you need to move the form to a different folder later on, the workflow applied to that form will not be disrupted. Otherwise, you will need to update the folder selection on this workflow definition when the form is moved to a different folder. Select the approval group for your workflow. This group contains the users who will have the ability to review and take actions on the form in their workflow queue. You can create new groups on the Groups page. For more information on groups, see the Managing Groups video or the Portal Quick Start Guide article. Click on Users to select or modify the users in the approval group. If you modify the users in existing groups from the basic workflow page, it will update those groups in the Field2Base system and be applied to any other workflows those groups are used in. The submitted form will appear in all of the approvers' workflow queues until it has been acted upon by one of the approvers. Once a user edits the form, approves it, deletes it, or sends it back to the field, then the form will no longer be available to the other users in the approval group. Make sure any users that are part of the approval group are assigned the role of workflow user so that they have the ability to log into their workflow queue. The workflow administrator role allows a user to create basic workflows and view the current status of all forms in workflow. See the Roles page in the admin menu for more information on various roles and their associated permissions. Check the box for Send an email to all members of the approval group when a form is available for review to send a notification email to all users in the approval group each time a form is ready to be reviewed. If you check this box, you will have the option to use the company default email template with the default subject line, or you can add a custom email subject. See the email templates article or video for more information on editing custom or default email templates. Next, select your recipient group. These are the users or group of users who will receive an email of the final approved version of the form, as long as you have the final email enabled. Click on Users to select and modify the recipient group for this workflow. Check the box for Send a final email to all members of the recipient group when a form has been approved to send emails when a form is approved. If you check this box, you will be given the choice to use either a default email or a default email with a custom subject line. Check the box for Allow reviewers to add recipients to the final email while it is under review to allow reviewers to add one-time recipients to the final email before approving a form in their workflow queue. These recipients may be users or recipients that have been set up in your company, or a manually entered email address. For more information on the difference between users and recipients, see the Users versus Recipients article or video. When you have finished configuring your basic workflow, click Create to save it. When viewing the Workflow Definitions main page, you will see a table containing relevant information about your workflows. In addition, you will see the Select an Action dropdown where you can toggle whether your workflow is enabled or disabled, download the workflow XML file, or edit the workflow. For more information on the contents of this page, see the Workflow Definitions article or video. Basic workflows are intended to provide an out-of-the-box review solution, but if your business needs are more complex, Field2Base also offers custom workflows which can include multiple approval steps or advanced logic. Custom workflows offer many more options and can even follow multiple workflow paths based on data from the form. Reach out to our professional services department with any questions by emailing f2bps@field2base.com. For more information on Field2Base workflows, see the Workflow section in the Using the Portal section of the Field2Base Help Center.